Welcome everyone, this is Victoria, and today we're going to discuss the devastating effects that Rebella had on millions of unborn babies. But before we do that, we gotta first know what Rebella is. Rebella is called the 3-day measles or the German measles. It was most active during the early 1900s to approximately 2004, when the U.S. has completely wiped it out. There are still occasionally some cases, very rare. So Rebella, well, what exactly is Rebella? Well, that's where you have a bit of a cough, a sneezing, fever, a very deep red rash that starts on the trunk and moves upward and out to the limbs. So how does Rebella affect so many of us? Well, what it was that the mother, the unknowing mother, or in some cases the mother was sick, but she didn't know what she had, or how damaging it was to her baby. And these are pregnant mothers we're referring to. Usually between the first and third month of pregnancy, the developmental stage. And as you all know, that's such a critical time for an unborn fetus. So many things are developing within the mother's womb. So much of that baby's life is being put together. And as it's being developed, it can be easily damaged. And Rebella was one of those diseases that did just that. Now, many babies, sadly, didn't survive. There were a lot of stillbirths, miscarriages. Some babies even died not long after birth. Those of us that survived our full pregnancy and developed didn't develop normally. Many of us came out with at least one or more birth defects. Well, you say, what kind of birth defects did you come out with? Well, the majority were deaf and blind, or one or the other. Many children were profoundly retarded. Many other children were severely crippled. Many others on them were also intellectually damaged. However, like I said earlier, most of us got more than one defect. I myself was born legally blind. I have some deafness that has progressed over the years. And there's a lot of other hidden deformities and ailments that through time doctors have been able to trace back to Rebella. And in other videos I'm going to discuss some of those with you. But for today, I just wanted to bring you into what happened to so many millions of babies. And it was such a terrible tragedy. Now today, we have the Rebella shot. And as I tried to do research on when the shot was actually developed or actually came out for use, I have to be very honest with you. I came up with don't laugh, but I came up with a couple of different times. So I'm not quite sure who's telling the truth. to be quite frankly. Some said 65, some said 69. I was originally told that it was the year after I was born, which would have made it 61. So, somewhere in history, there's the truth. However, right at this point, I can't find it. If I do, I will post it in a later video. Now, keep in mind that we now have that vaccine. So the U.S. has completely rid itself of rubella. However, there are occasionally some stray cases that do still appear. Keep in mind that all it takes is just getting that rubella shot. And actually, what you don't need just a rubella shot. You need an MMR. And that's for measles, mumps, and rubella. So it's 3 shots in one. All 3 are very important shots, especially if you're going to become pregnant. So keep that in mind. It's very devastating to raise a child with any type of a disability. It's very, not just emotionally devastating, it's very costly, it's very time-consuming. There's just numerous doctor's visits and appointments and surgeries. And I had, from the time I was born until I was about 5 years old, I had a total of, I'm sorry, let me try that again. From the time I was born until a year old, I had 12 surgeries. And then several others after that time until I was 5 years old. And that's very traumatic on the child. And of course, living back in the age I did in the 1960s, parents weren't allowed to be with you in the hospital. So it was very, very scary. I remember just really being upset. Where was Mama? All I wanted was Mama. And that's all I asked for, and I cried. I was the youngest child in that nursery unit for the young pediatric patients, and I made a commotion. The other kids started complaining to the nurses. That little girl's making too much noise. Can't you do something with her? It was terrible. They had to take me out of the room at night and let me sit by the nurse's desk until I fell asleep. You don't want that for your child. So please remember to get all your vaccines. They are important. And I just can't, I don't have my mother still alive, and I never got to talk to her, but I can't imagine what it was like for her. And she was very young. She was 17. So I can't imagine what it would be like for a 17-year-old to find out that they had this disabled child. It just ponders my brain to where I can't imagine what I would do at that age. I don't know. I just wanted you to think about that a moment. And those of you that do have children that are disabled, I have to tell you, I do feel for you. Because it's devastating. It has to be. Because I know that it's affected my life in many, many ways. Not only am I legally blind, like I said, I have the hearing loss, multiple surgeries, scoliosis, narrowing of my arteries and veins. I didn't develop properly, so a lot of things are very, very different for me. And like I said, in other videos, I want to discuss some of the other disabilities that I grew up with. Some I didn't know I had them until many years later. If you should have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will either answer them in the comments or I will do a video with answers to the questions that have been left. And do feel free to leave other comments as well. Always love to hear from you. Don't forget, if this video was helpful to you, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget, if you're new to my channel, subscribe, hit the bell, so that you can be notified when I do upload my other videos. Okay, and my next video, I'm going to veer off this track unless we have a lot of questions. My next video is going to be on a topic called protein C deficiency. So you want to stay tuned and notified about that upcoming video. You all take care and have a great day.